Can you tell my intent by my voice and what we have talked about so far?
That's a sort of mysterious question. I have to ask you, from what angle do you want me to look at your intent? I can never see something as just a simple answer, because I always can see many angles and different things. So one thing I keep seeing with you that I have to come back to is, and talking about the throat chakra, is music. And you were saying you singing, you know. I feel you really need to do some good oming rather than you. If you do, like, I don't want to blast everybody's ear out, but if you go, oh, yeah, that's not my full blast. That's a tiddly blast. But I'm sorry if I shook you, but I want you to feel that in your body, to resonate throughout your body so that your whole body tingles afterwards. And with the force of the oneness, you can vibrate your body to a point where you can get your blood system to be stronger and rejuvenate your body better. And so singing and reverberating your body is something your spirit guides want to do with you right now. So is that part of your intention, to heal yourself?
My intention is to become more aware.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I did love singing with my mother when I was young, growing up until I entered grade school, and then I guess they didn't like people that walked around at recess singing, so they kind of took my heart out of singing. I still enjoyed music and things in my later years, but I'd lost the feeling that I had that I enjoyed the singing when I was little.
So that's one of the things I was talking about earlier on, where we had these thoughts in our head. Oh, I used to sing, but I can't now. And so by my oming with you right now, believe it or not, I've probably opened up your throat chakra, because we never do. I have to remind you, I have spirit guides in my head all the time. We never do anything without purpose. And purpose is about intent to help others improve. And so, even the darkest entity, do you know what a succubus is? Is a fallen angel. And many of the angels that were on the earth in the ancient times took on forms like dragons. And so they got stuck in that form. And even now, China and Japan and Malaysia and places like that still worship the dragon. And there was one particular one that was stuck, and he had his hordes, his minions, and he was telling me what he wasn't going to do to me was probably the easiest thing to say, because he was determined to wear me out. And a short version is in my book, My Journey into the Oneness, where I just let him go on, and all I kept saying was, you are becoming. And ultimately, he noticed that his little skin, from the dragon part was breaking off. And it's like, what are you doing to me? And the moment he showed fear, his minions of people following him felt his fear. He'd lost face. So at that point, I said to him, you have a choice. You can go into the oneness and bring them over with you, or you can go back into the dark. Either way, you're the leader. He chose to take them all into the light. And today they are free wherever, probably reincarnated or whatever. And he turns up as a golden dragon now first, so I know it's him, and then he's human in appearance. Not all dragons, are ferocious. It's just they got stuck here and they didn't know where to go. And in the same way, archangels, not all angels have wings. So, we have expectations of how people should be. And when you think back to the Egyptian times when they were genetically engineering back in those days, why do you think they put humans with, a bird's head on it or a bear's head on it or whatever it was? Because they were trying to say that these creatures were created by humans. But who were the humans? They were aliens? From where? And what was their blood system like? And how did they transform and change us? I've been studying a lot about the DNA, and my current work is about the soul structure coding that we come in with that gives us a personality and a character which entwines with the DNA, which is our ancestry. On average, each of us watches 5 generations being born before we turn up, which sets the pace for what we're going to do, because we're all in a sort of soul group that are preparing for something. And then looking at the RNA, how we learn by being told this is what to believe, this is what to do. And, I'm believe it or not, I'm going to write a book about this in the overview about someone famous. They want me to do it. I didn't want to do it, and I'm not saying who. But spirit guides want me to do it because it will bring the point home to the world that we all come in with this soul structure coding, which is entwined with the DNA of ancestors and current with the mindsets and beliefs of now. And how, in the overview, one person can affect a great transformation either in the dark or in the light, i.e. Jesus changed the world. At the time of his death, nothing changed. Everything was the same. But given time and given the Christians being thrown to the lions and given time and seeing the Dark Ages and given time, seeing the Catholic faith dissolve into Presbyterian and fundamentalism, and given time coming forward now into spiritualism and awakening of the consciousness, his message hasn't been lost. Love thyself and love thy neighbor. We still got to learn to do it, And most people, when you say, do you love yourself, they'll say, not really, I'm not good at this, I'm not good at that, before they'll say, well, I'm very good at this and that. So we're still in judgment on ourselves, and in the mirror image of that, everyone else. We've got a long way to go before we understand unity. And there's a lot of light workers down who are trying to teach this.
Excuse me, Tim and Margaret, sorry to butt in, but we have 15 minutes, and I want to give Sandy a chance, too, to comment or ask a question or share something. Sandy's from Wisconsin. Are you there, Sandy?
Yes, I'm here, Val. Thank you. First, I want to thank our guest today for coming on. I've enjoyed the show immensely. And I do want to say something about Rebizar Tars. He is always with me. He has been with me for many lifetimes, which I have a memory of. And he made a big appearance when I was 21 in this lifetime. So he gives a lot of guidance. He gives a lot of protections, as the real guides do. There's many, many real guides. Tim mentioned a few, and there's others, like Shamusi, Tabriz, and Rumi, and many, many others that will make an appearance if you're aware enough. And I want to tell a little funny thing. When I was a teenager, I used to go out to my aunt's cottage and take a huge tractor inner tube and go out and float out on the lake. It was Lake Winnebago. And these so-called dragonflies would come on my inner tube, and they were male fairies. And I just used to love to go out and watch them on the inner tube. They always wondered why I stayed out there so long. I never told them. But I had another experience not too long ago with fairies that was quite beautiful. And they appeared to me as the vision opened. I was sitting on green grass with the trees and the flowers, and they appeared to me in these beautiful glistening bubbles that just kind of came across. It was very pretty. I've also had encounters with your Orions or your reptilians that breed, and the Syrians, like Claudia has. And the other day I went into my closet, and there were two little tiny aliens hiding in there. I have a portal in my kitchen that many aliens come through, and not only aliens, but animals we're familiar with on the physical plane here. And I just thought I'd just say a little bit about that. Well, I'm done saying it, but I do have a lot of experiences with these aliens, extraterrestrial beings, and some of them are very nice, some of them not so nice, but they're here, and this is a reptilian planet, so this is what we're dealing with, and this is human farming. So I'll just end with that. Thank you.
Well, that was interesting. You confirmed about the dragonfly. Thank you for that, because I've never had anyone else tell me that they saw male fairies. And then the other thing, that I did want to say is when you mention all these names, you've got to remember that anyone who's in the spirit world from any planet dynamic, because remember the hub is consistently omnipresent. And the spokes of the cartwheel, think of it that way, are time periods, century periods. So you could incarnate before Jesus and then come back in 450,000 AD after Jesus, and you can go in and out, backwards and forwards any time you want. And the process of your presence in that time era, whatever it is going to be in some way transforming and changing. So we're all transforming and changing somebody somewhere all the time. Well, so in the same way, these spirit guides, they can have 101,000 names, and they can turn up looking like anybody. I mean, when Elvis Presley died, I had people all over the place telling me that Elvis Presley was in their house. One woman told me she'd having sex with Elvis Presley in her house. And the bottom line is that was an earthbound pretending to be Elvis Presley. A lot of times spirit will use someone that's passed who's been in a good vibration and appear as that person, because the people who are looking are expecting to see that person. So if you loved Elvis tremendously and you're on drugs yourself, and he appeared in front of you and said, you need not take those drugs or you'll end up like me on the other side, they're going to listen, aren't they? So earthbounds, can be uplifted as well in the same way when there's a massive consciousness on this planet, there's a massive transformation. And the spirit guides can appear in many different hats, in different styles and different ways. And you get to a point eventually where you just say, well, whoever it is, it is. I am. That's how I see it.
I was just wanting to ask you about do you see this physical realm as cause and effect?
For us, from our perception, yeah. If you were just to walk across the floor, you are moving the air. You're changing the atmosphere in your home. It doesn't matter to you because you have nothing to do with anything from your consciousness. But if you walked past a spider on the floor, you would sound like thunder turning up to that spider, and you've had an effect on that spider. So it's just that we don't notice that we're having effects on other things until it interrupts the way we think and the way we feel and what we're doing. Then we feel it. Then we notice it. And if we look for something in the mirror image, that there's 5 laws of karma. The first one is no one fragment, we're all fragments, can invade the space of another at any time on any level. So if I'm watching a movie and I tell you, go out of the room and leave me alone, please, you got to do it. You could sit down and be a bloody nuisance, and I could turn around and then say, I'm responsible for how I respond to you, and I can say under the second law, get out of here now, blah, 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 and scream and yell at you, and I'm responsible for my emotional response, not you. And then, the third aspect is that we love one another in our differences so that we basically accept one another in our differences. And then the fourth law is mirror image one. We see ourselves in other people. And the last law is love God. And the thing is, how do you define loving God when you don't know what God looks like? So you have to love it in everything that's created that we see. And that's not easy when you've got people yelling at you or someone cutting down trees and whatever it is, where we disagree. So, yes, controversy is the main energy that we need that causes us to evolve.
And have you ever heard of Jehovah as being the Lord God of the astral plane and Grog being the Lord God Almighty of the mental plane?
Yeah,
and
I've heard of that. I've heard of that, and I've learned to dismiss all that because that's all people who congregate together under one consciousness and believe for themselves that that is the ultimate thing. It's not. And for the average person to be able to embrace the oneness that all things are part of God that is, and God doesn't need a name because it just is the oneness, all that is, I am, is reflected right back to each one of us. And it's up to us to amalgamate. And once we amalgamate, then we're going to understand what oneness is. But we're too busy fighting right now. So it's difficult.
Yeah, as you were talking about the Om, what I'm becoming aware of is that's connecting beings that use that sound to this realm, in this physical psych realms. And what I'm becoming aware of, that there's real universes beyond these psych realms and gods. There are no gods.
Yeah, if you think of our universe here, okay, Milky Way and all that, and you look up through night goggles and you see all those different blobs of rocks and things, I was just dumbfounded when I looked up because I'd been seeing that, but in the human body. And so if you ever have night glasses and you look up at the sky and see just how much stuff is up there, and then realize the same thing is going on inside your body, you begin to realize that you are a part of that cosmos, that you're in form, and your body is biogenically working just as the universe is biogenically working in its form. So
well, it's been nice.
Nothing is a waste of time. It's all perfect. It just keeps moving, and that's what we want. Keep moving.
And Tim, 4 minutes. Tim, 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Just give you a heads up. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Margaret, it's been nice to have a discussion with you and for your answers to questions. And does anybody else have anything they'd like to mention to Margaret? Or Margaret, do you have anything else you'd like to say in the next 4 minutes?
Well, I kind of feel I've been hogging all the time because, it was like I get so much to teach and share, and I'm sorry if I did. But I didn't know if anyone else was going to be talking about what they do. It wasn't made clear, so I'm sorry about that if I cut someone off.
No, that was why we have this Blog Talk Radio to have people to talk with about what we see life's about and what they see life's about. And Val or anybody else have any last questions or something they'd like to say?
No, I really enjoyed you, Margaret, and what your view of things, because you're an explorer. Obviously, you've done a lot. You've got a lot of experiences, and they're very interesting, actually, because they relate to how we see things. With you call it the oneness, and that you use the is. We use the term is too. This all isness that is beyond all these creations that people have created for themselves. The gods and the angels and all these things are just manifestations of certain things. But the isness is just very real. It's almost in your face. It's so real. And it just can be recognized. That's how we see it. You can't do it. You can't add anything to it. It can just only be recognized. And you support it. You mentioned that too, that, we're part of this reality, and that's so true. We're part of this isness that just is. And basically all we can do is support it. And you also mentioned the guides and how, they come in different forms and guises, and it really doesn't matter. It's just, are you becoming more aware? Are you recognizing more? That makes sense. And thanks a lot for being on. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. If I could just give my website and email, I'd appreciate that. What I have is shumaricenter.com. That's S for sugar, U, M for mother, A, R, as in Roger, I, S for sugar again, Center American, CENTER.com. And you can see my books and what I do there. And, I have packages and things. I help people. And then if people want to write to me, my email is DR for Doctor, Margaret, MARGARET, and then my capitals for my, it's not capitals in this, is it? RVC, Rogers Van Coops. So Dr. Margaret, RVC @gmail.com. So anybody can write to me and ask questions, and I'll go from there. I'm always available. I'm actually a professor and a minister. I've got a lot of qualifications. So I can help people with illness, disease. I can help with their minds, their emotions. I'm also a hypnotherapist and counselor. So I have a lot of things in ways and means that I can help people. Everybody's
thanks again. Well, we've got I guess that's our limit for time. So Thanks again, Margaret. Good talking with you. And I'm not trying to convince you of anything, but you might want to try and test singing the new you for like 10 or 15 minutes before you go to sleep. And see what real guide appears in your life, in your dreams or.
Yes, I'll try it. I'm always open to trying what other people give me to do. Thank you.
Yeah, the new presentation, and it's Wonderful Worldwide Educators. It's on the internet all over. Kelsey Lynn Brown has the Skype groups and discussions and every week. So if you're interested to check it out, good talking to you, and we'll see you.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.